In this episode of Crystal Uncorked, we are going to talk about the importance of embracing and sharing what makes you, you, so you could shine online. So let's dive in. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. All right, if you're watching this episode, you are realizing and seeing that the quality is a little different. My Wi-Fi went out right as I went to hit record. Isn't that great? So I was like, I gotta find a new way to do this because I need to share what's on my mind right now. I was ready to record. And so here we are on my phone instead of my fancy tech. You know, you just get it done. That's the key. Like, do it messy. Just do it anyways. Start before you're ready. And so we're just hoping that my dog does not snore very loud and we don't pick up his snoring from the sound. Okay, so this topic today is something that I am so passionate about, something I love talking about, people's kind of superpowers and just the importance of being authentic, especially when we are marketing online, in all of our marketing materials, and then even just how we're showing up in our businesses. And for me, I thought about this episode because Halloween is around the corner. It's October while I'm filming this. And I have, over the years, have really wanted to create unique costumes. Like, I like having a costume that nobody else is wearing, or just that very like cool, fun idea like of a costume. And people are like, what are you? That's so creative. Like, I love that. I love seeing people be creative with their costumes. And I've always wanted to be creative. And so over the years, there's one situation specifically that is pretty funny. I was in college and me and my roommate flew to Durango where her cousin lived. We were living in Denver. We flew to Durango, and I just have to say, we flew on like a puddle jumper plane, like a smaller plane over the Rocky Mountains. Now, at that point, I had barely flown in my life, so I was terrified of flying. I think I only flew like 2 other times. So I was terrified of flying in the first place, and then we're on the small plane. My friend's like totally keeping it cool, like she flies all the time. Her brother-in-law was a pilot, so we got these buddy passes, and so she's like, if the flight attendants freak out, that's when you can freak out. And there's a point on the plane where the whole fucking thing drops like significantly, where the flight attendant goes, oh, like it scared her. And so I screamed. I fucking screamed on the airplane. It was so embarrassing, but I was terrified. And we seriously like dropped, and the flight attendant was like, it's okay. But I could tell she was nervous. My God, it was so bumpy. By the time we landed, I just was like touching the ground, like so grateful to be on the ground. We flew out to Durango purely for a Halloween party for my friends, cousins, Halloween party. And I wanted to have a very creative outfit. And so leading up, I was doing a lot of researching, and I decided to be a bag of jelly beans. I thought that was a really fun, cute idea. So I bought a bunch of little balloons that were all sorts of different colors, and I blew them all up, and I had a clear trash bag, and I stuck all the balloons in my clear trash bag. I printed off a Jelly Bellies sign before we went, and then I had like bright pink tights and bright colorful shorts just to kind of like add to it. I did really bright eyes and makeup and kind of funky hair. And then there I am. So like we're getting ready in the bathroom and we're hearing people start arriving at the party. And, you know, I'm like, if you're watching this, like I'm big, right? Because I have balloons everywhere. So my hands are like, my arms are out and I've got all my balloons, and I'm thinking like, this is the coolest thing, that I'm a bag of jelly beans. And my friend was like a sexy cat. She was so cute, like so sexy, so adorable. And we opened the door. she goes out first, and then there's like all sorts of people already there. And all of a sudden this guy is coming down the hallway to go to the bathroom where I'm coming out, and he is a sumo wrestler. So he is also very big, and he is trying to, like, we're coming at each other. It's hilarious. Like, I wish I had this filmed. I remember this like it was yesterday. We're like, it's like slow-mo coming at each other down the hall. We're both big, full of air. And we're like, how are we going to do this? And we just both turn to the side and just kind of walk past each other. We're like sliding against each other's stomachs. And it's like, hi, I'm Crystal. I don't remember his name. It's like, nice to meet you. Nice costume. And he's like, you too. Like, wasn't really sure what I was. And then I go turn the corner and in the kitchen, and then there's all these people, and it's like another sexy cat, sexy superwoman, sexy nurse. All the girls were like super sexy, cute, like beautiful. And I'm like, hi, I'm a bag of jelly beans. Oh my God. I was immediately like, can we do a shot? I feel like a little uncomfortable. But what was funny was I got so much attention that night, actually, from the men. I was single at the time, and I kind of felt like a hot commodity. And what I learned through that was like, just be you. Right? Like, I was so creative. It showed my personality. It showed like I like to have fun. And I was kind of just like making fun of myself for being a bag of jelly beans. And people loved it. It was hilarious. And I definitely stood out because I was the opposite of sexy. So as I was thinking about that story, like, that's one of my most favorite stories. Another favorite Halloween story is I was the Scarecrow. There was like a Wizard of Oz themed party that my company that I was working at the time put on. And so everybody was like dressed up, and people got to pick what they wanted to be. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to be the Scarecrow. Like, that's fun. I'll stuff in a bunch of hay, and I had the triangle nose, and it was like all floppy, like coming in. And, I have some friends that were with me at that party. Of course, they're all like cute cop, sexy cop. And one was a hippie, which was fun. And here I am in my, just completely covered. But that's the other thing. I like to be warm. Like, this is Colorado, so I like to have like clothes on. I don't want to be freezing. So I loved my Scarecrow outfit. Anyways, as I was thinking about Halloween and my costumes, I was thinking, just about myself. And I like to have that uniqueness that's just different than other people. And what I found over the years of running a business is when you are yourself and you are like uniquely you, not faking it, not trying to be anybody else, just you, that shines through, and that is what people connect to. And in a way, this kind of goes back to the whole vulnerability conversation we were having a few weeks ago about like dropping your walls and just being honest. And people really see that. It gives them permission to do the same, and you just build more meaningful connections, right? And it's stronger conversations. And the same thing happens, I feel, when you are just you. People can sense that. They can really feel that. Like, when I am truly myself on a stage and I'm speaking and I'm telling some of my cheesy dad jokes, or I laugh at myself if I say the wrong word or whatever, like, it comes through and people really connect with that. And so I wanted to bring this up because I know how hard it is to be yourself and shine online. New term I'm using, which I love. And, really like pushing through the comfort, or just getting comfortable with the comfort. Because I don't know if we ever really push through it, but I feel like we just have to get comfortable with the discomfort and just do it anyways. Do it afraid, like my grandma says. And so it can be scary to be ourselves and to show who we really are. And we sometimes can feel like, well, who gives a fuck? Like, who would care, right? I am one of those people. And just recently, a couple of months ago, I was in San Diego. I was at a mastermind. I was sitting with this amazing group of women, and I was just feeling like really stuck from a social media perspective of putting myself out there. And the host of the event, Jen Gottlieb, was sitting at our table. And I just kind of said that to her. I was like, I was like, this probably sounds crazy because I have a social media company and I know the importance and I teach this, but I just lately have been feeling like, who cares? Like, I'm boring. I live a pretty boring life. There's nothing really that exciting about what I do. Who cares? Why am I posting every single day? I just don't feel like people are going to care. And as I was saying it, like, I felt really silly because I teach this. Like, I try to help other people put themselves out there and feel comfortable because I know that's what connects with people and I know that's what works. But I was really in my own head. I had blocks up, I had resistance, I had fear, and it was winning. It was making me think that I am too boring to share any social media content, so I should not be sharing anything. And part of where my fear was coming from and my self-doubt was I was totally comparing myself to Jen Gottlieb, who, if you check her out on Instagram, she is just dynamite. She's beautiful. She's confident. She's just an amazing speaker. She owns the stage. And she has a video crew that like follows her around and creates this beautiful content. And so I'm completely comparing myself. Like, I'm not on these big stages and I don't have these big truth bombs that somebody's recording and I could post that and change people's lives with every post. Like, oh my God, we just get caught up in our heads, putting so much pressure on ourselves that every post has to be this epic post that really changes people's lives or really like makes a difference. And I have to tell you that often the simplest posts, as long as they're real and open and honest and you, are often what gets the engagement and gets people commenting and listening and sharing and responding. I mean, the other day, I think I mentioned this actually on a previous episode. I didn't have any makeup on and I was feeling really vulnerable and I was feeling like, what am I going to talk about and who am I to talk about anything? And I just did a quick video about that, like just kind of the same feeling, like feeling really stuck and like, does anyone care and whatever? And it was so quick and it was just an honest post. And I got so many people commenting on and DMing me. Like, that was one of my most engaged with posts on social. So the other thing too is like, just in those moments, you know, of even like, you're at this great restaurant and you're loving what you're eating, or you have a wine that you're loving and you want to share it with your people, or you're out with your, you know, partner or friend and a great conversation is happening, or you're just showing behind the scenes of your life, or like just the simple day-to-day stuff. Okay? Simple day-to-day stuff, as long as it's authentic to you and you uniquely who you are, and it shows your personality and your interests, and putting this on your personal account and or your business account. But this is where, if you're putting this on business, this is really where people get to see you and connect with you more. Especially if you're not really using your personal. A lot of the retailers we work with don't really post on their personal account. They will post just on their business. And so we just feel like, well, they'll often feel like, well, it's my business, so I shouldn't post anything personal there. And that's absolutely the wrong thing to do. And I am saying this, totally want to just call out the fact that if you go to Crystal Media's account, my business account, you're not going to see me very much. I post a lot of my stuff on my personal account, building that personal brand up more. I could totally do a better job of posting more personal stuff on Crystal Media. So, saying it here, you'll see more, hold me accountable. But we all do this. We're just like, nobody cares. I'm boring. And one thing that I want to share that Jen Gottlieb said to me at that lunch was, you know, I said, nobody cares. I'm boring. And she said, okay, I want you to think of your best friend. And I want you to imagine how she would describe you. Would she use the word boring? And I was like, no. Not at all. And I laughed. Like, I have a lot of fun with my girlfriends. I like to laugh. I like to joke. I make stupid jokes. I love karaoke. I love to dance. Like, I love just brainstorming and like getting into it and talking about deeper stuff. Like, none of that is boring. My best friend would not at all consider me boring. And so that was definitely a great way to look at it differently. I would encourage you, if you're ever stuck in those moments of like, nobody cares. Why am I going to put this online? I'm just boring. Like, what a waste. Think about your best friend would they consider you boring? Would they say that about you? Probably not. They're probably going to be like, you post that. I want to see it. I'm going to comment. I'm going to share. Like, I'm going to post it too. Like, you would probably inspire them. So you need to just be yourself. And the other thing that I want to say is that this is more about like you as a person and your personality versus like your unique abilities. I talk a lot about unique abilities on Crystal Uncorked. I ask a lot of my guests what their unique abilities are. That is more about like what you're really good at, like your strengths. For me, it's speaking. I love speaking. That's more about my strength. But the personality for me is that I do cuss. I say holy guacamole. I laugh at myself. I can do cheesy, weird things. Like, and I just have to have that shine through and show through my social. And that's where those are the things I'm really wanting you to put more out there is your uniqueness, the characteristics that make up who you are, because nobody else, there's not one single person that is exactly the same. And we want to connect with your true, authentic self. The last thing I want to say about this is I was at dinner last night with my friend, and she is starting an insurance agency, and she's getting quotes to build her website. And of course, they've got like the gold package where you could do website and social media posts and blogs. And I said to her, send me the proposal, I'll take a look for you. But I have a really strong feeling that you don't need that gold package, because when people are writing blogs or they're doing your social media, it's not going to convert, especially, let's just talk about social media, okay? If somebody else, a third party, is doing your social media for you, it is not going to be your tone. It is not going to be your personality. It is not something that they can connect with you on. You are not Chase Bank. You are not a national brand that people know the brand. They're never going to know the person behind the brand at that big box, that big brand. So those people can have third parties create content for them. But if you are a small business owner and you interact with your customers and your team, you need to be posting your content. People need to be seeing people, your team, and you, not the third party shit. It's not all you're doing is lighting money on fire. Lighting money on fire. It won't convert. And I have had so many situations. I actually talked to a woman once who was a jeweler here in Colorado. I met her at a show I was speaking at in DC, and she sat down with me. She was very skeptical, like didn't want to sit down with me. I could tell she was really hesitant. She was worried I was going to sell her. And I was like, this is a 20-minute consultation. Like, you want me to pull up your Facebook page, your Instagram account? Like, I can give you feedback and advice. And she finally, like, she felt a little bit more comfortable, and we looked at her pages, and I gave some great advice. And she was like, oh, really loving it. And then she finally opened up and she said, I hired somebody else that's here, and they're a consultant, and part of the package was they were going to post on my Instagram for me every single day. It was $5,000 a month for them to post on her Instagram every single day. So by the way, that's way too much. If you're paying that right now, that's insane. Unless it's like fucking converting and you're getting 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, like great, keep doing it. $5,000 a month to post once a day on Instagram, and some of these posts weren't even the products she sold. So somebody actually came in from that post, showed the picture of a ring. She did not even sell it because they were using other content. She got nothing. She took out a small business loan to pay for this contract. I believe it was a 6-month contract, so $30,000. She took out a loan and saw no return on this because it wasn't her content. They weren't connecting with the people who live in that town, who get to know her, who learn about their products, trust her team, build that rapport. And we do that all through relationships and talking about our dogs and our kids and our travel plans and our weekend plans and our favorite local restaurants and all the shit that we would talk about with friends or family that we feel like is boring and we don't want to post it. But that is the things that people want to see. They want to see those things from you. That's what's going to build the connection. That's what's going to get them to stop scrolling. That's what's going to get them to work with you. So I want you to get really clear on what are those unique things about you. And you don't have to spend a lot of time there. You probably know these things right off the bat. Just think about who you are when you're with your most favorite person in the world. Who is that person that you are, truly you, and let that shine through. Because I want you to shine online. And that is one of the best ways to do it, is just be you. And if that means that you like dressing up in weird costumes on Halloween because that's how your brain works and that's what you like to do, then you're going to fucking leverage that, right? You're going to own it. You are going to own it. And I hope that I'll actually link to an episode that I did last year about confidence, because this does kind of connect to confidence. I think that we struggle a lot with feeling confident to put ourselves out there. We wait to feel confident, and it does not work that way. We just have to find the courage to put ourselves out there. And the more that you do it, the more you'll build the confidence. Okay? You have to just get into motion. Action creates momentum. Action creates motivation. So you just have to keep posting and be you. And this is something I've really, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm Crystal Vilkitis. I would love for you to connect there. I'm posting more. I'm putting myself out there. I'm being more vulnerable. I cry at award shows. And like when I watch them on TV, like the Emmys and Golden Globes, all the things, right? I cry. I haven't even watched this show or the movie. I don't even know the actor. And I'm crying at their acceptance speech. And one day I was like, well, this is something about me that people probably don't know. I just put it on Instagram, like crying in the moment. I'm so happy for this girl who won. The girl from, I don't know what even the show was. It's on HBO, Euphoria, I think. I don't remember her name. I've never seen the show, but I'm so happy for her. Well, I put it on, and immediately after I published that, I'm sitting there and I get this feeling where I'm like, oh, that was kind of dumb. Should I delete this? Like, people are going to look at that and be like, why the fuck? That's so stupid. So then in the next morning, I was like, just go to bed. Just see, like, you could delete it in the morning. Like, let's just leave it up overnight. Not many people are probably going to see it overnight anyways. The next morning, I wake up to a couple of private messages from people who are really close to me, my mentor and a really close friend of mine. And they rarely comment on and DM me on Instagram. Rarely. And they watched it. They thought it was funny. One of my friends was like, I actually LOL'd at this. Like, I was like, oh my God. And I was being me. And my true people saw that, commented, and it resonated. I'm like, cool. I'm totally not going to delete this. So we wait for that confidence. I'm going to link to the confidence podcast, and there's a lot more that I'm going to be talking about confidence in the coming episodes, because it's just something I am so passionate about, and some tips to help. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that holds us back from really putting ourselves out there and shining online and being seen is confidence. But in that episode that I'll link to, one of my friends listened to that episode, and afterwards she texted me that she mustered up the confidence, really the courage to take the next step. And she asked for a promotion at her job, and she got it, which is awesome. So we just got to put ourselves out there. We got to have the courage. We got to believe in ourselves, and specifically just be you. Will you please be you? We need more people that are just authentically themselves. I see so many copycats on TikTok, especially people just trying to be like everybody else, and it just does not work. It's so refreshing when you see that vulnerability and the person who's just being them. Okay, so on next week's episode, I have my friend, a dear family friend, who's also I've done a lot of coaching with him, Paul De La Garza. So we have some deep conversations on that one, and some very easy to implement and do strategies to help if you're stressed out, if you're feeling the weight of the world, and there's a lot going on in the world. And so if you're struggling at all, he's got some great tips to help in that episode. So I will see you on the next See You. Bye-bye. Hey, real quick, if you are a retail store owner, I would love to see you at Evolve. This is my in-person marketing conference happening April 26th and 27th, 2023 in Denver, Colorado at the Gaylord Rockies, which is a stunning venue. You get to spend 2 days with me and my team and keynote speakers, as well as other retailers looking to evolve their marketing, business, and lives. It's an intimate event. We only have 200 tickets available, and we've already sold a lot of those seats already. So this event will sell out. Do not delay, because we have special pricing depending on when you hear this and when you sign up. And I would love to see you in that room. So go to crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolve to get your ticket. And I would love to see you there. And thank you for listening to this episode. Bye.